Welcome to this video tutorial of Actively Learn for St. John's teachers. Let's start with the basics, creating your class. You can create your class with this button on the left-hand side. After you enter all of the information, you will receive a code that you can give to your students so that they can make their own Actively Learn accounts with their Microsoft IDs and join your class. Now let's check out the course catalog, which you see here. This is where you can search for news articles, novels, poems, and short stories to assign students. Many texts, if they are in the public domain, are completely free to assign to students. Once you find the text that you want to assign, click the plus button at the bottom right of the text and select which class you want to assign the text to. You can see all the texts that you have assigned by going to your content page and clicking My Workspace. Here are all the texts that I have given my classes. Text that Actively Learn has will come preloaded with several annotations and questions. You can change any annotation or question that you want to. You can also add new questions and new annotations. When you make your annotations, you see that you have the option to color code them and categorize them. Actively Learn will come with preset categories, but you can change that with the pencil icon on the right-hand side. If you have the Prime version of Actively Learn, you can add a video, a map, or an image or a website to your annotation for students to see. If you do not have the Prime version of Actively Learn, you can just copy and paste a link to a video or a website or an image into your annotation, and students can be redirected to another window to see the link. At the top of every chapter, you have the option to add a pre-reading summary, directions to tell students what to look for, or a question, as well as media such as audiobooks or images. Let's talk about how to view student annotations and the answers that students have written to questions. To view student work, go to the home page, navigate to the class, click on the text, and click on Notes in the top right. To see the notes that a student has written, go to this drop-down menu and click the name of the student whose notes you want to view. You can see everything that a student has annotated, as well as how they have categorized and color-coded it. You can even reply to student annotations if you wish to do so. To view the answers that students have written to questions, click the box that looks like a check mark inside of a rectangle at the top right. You can view all of the answers that a single student has given to all of the questions, or you can select one particular question and look at the answers that every student has given to that question. You can leave feedback here if you wish to. One of the really useful features when you are inside the class version of a text is that you can highlight a section of text and click Move Students Here. Every single student, even if they are not physically in your classroom, will be redirected automatically to the section of text that you have just highlighted. Now let's talk about the student experience of Actively Learn. You can see how the students experience all of the texts that you assign them by switching to student mode with the icon in the top right. Here you will see the way that students view the text you assign. They will see all annotations that you make. When students are reading, they can highlight a word and hear it, get the definition, or translate it into different languages. They can also highlight sections and make their own annotations. You will see that they have all of the same categories that you have preset in My Workspace. Students also have 2 additional categories which they can customize themselves. They can use these categories to keep track of their own personal thoughts or highlight things that they don't understand and want to ask questions about later. You can see every single annotation that a student makes. Students also have the option of making their annotations public for the entire class or keeping them private. Students also have a good deal of freedom with regards to how they want to view the text in Actively Learn. In the top left, they can click on Text Settings, and they can change the spacing, colors, and font. They can also turn paragraph numbers on or off, though I recommend keeping them on. Within Actively Learn, you can also assign videos for your classes to watch.
Rome's focus and pride in its
If there is a text you want to assign your students that is not available in Actively Learn, you can import it. Go to Content and click on My Imports. You can import an article from the internet, a Google Doc, a PDF. You may create a quiz, or you can import a video. If you are going to assign your students a very short text, such as a short story, a poem, or a single chapter of a book, I recommend using Google Docs to do it. This is an example of a poem that I imported using Google Docs. If you need to assign your students a much longer text, such as an entire book, The best way to do so is to upload a PDF. It will look slightly different than novels or texts that are preloaded into Actively Learn. You can still add links and notes at the beginning and ends of pages. And you can still make annotations. However, your annotations will appear at the bottom of the page instead of on the side. Students always have the option to zoom in on their iPads or on any computer they may be reading on. It is important to be aware that if you are using the free version of Actively Learn, you can only import 3 pieces of content per month. If you are using the premium version of Actively Learn, you have unlimited uploads. Let's talk about the reading settings for various texts. Click on Assignment Settings and then click Reading Settings, and set the assignment that you want to adjust the settings for. You can click Use Class Reading Settings, or you can customize your reading settings. You can decide whether or not you want the students to see their notes, and whether or not you want the students to see each other's questions after they have entered a response. You also have the option of setting your text so that students cannot continue reading until they answer the question. You can also set it so that students are not allowed to revise their answers until you give them permission. You also have the option of locking and unlocking texts. When texts are locked, students can still read the text, but they cannot answer questions or make annotations. Thank you for checking out Actively Learn. Happy reading!